Hello and welcome to a new episode of Hartwig's Tech World. Your host, Hartwig, is back on the mic, and today, as always, I have my wonderful fiancée, Bianca, by my side. Great to have you here, darling.
Hi, Hartwig. I'm also looking forward to today's episode and the exciting topics you've brought with you.
Absolutely. We have quite a bit to discuss today, from heated debates in the music world to a curious error that gave Google quite a headache. So, sit back, grab a coffee or whatever you like, and dive into the world of technology with us. Is Spotify free a huge mistake? Apple's criticism of free music streaming. Let's start right away with a topic that has caused quite a stir in the recent weeks: Apple's criticism of free music streaming. Oliver Schuster, the head of Apple Music, called the free offerings from Spotify and Amazon Music a huge mistake. He believes music is art and shouldn't just be given away for free. What do you say to that, Bianca?
Pooh, that's quite a statement. I understand his point. If you view music as an art form, then it should have value and be compensated accordingly. I mean, artists invest so much time, talent, and passion in their work. It's quite disheartening if it ends up being consumed for free.
That's exactly the core point. Apple has always pursued a subscription-only strategy. No free tiers, no frills. And Schuster emphasized that it's not just for financial reasons, but because they see music as art, and art isn't given away for free. That's a pretty clear stance.
Absolutely. But I also see the other side. Spotify argues that the free offering is a beatway. Many people use it for free first and then later become paying customers. It's essentially a huge marketing funnel.
That's true. Spotify, with its free model, also simply has many more users than Apple Music. Over 200 million free users is quite a number. But the NMPA, the representative body for music publishers, sharply criticizes this. The losses due to these streaming bundles, where music is combined with audiobooks, are apparently gigantic. Spotify saw over $230 million in losses last year, and Amazon Music even had a 40% drop in music revenue in the first 3 months after introducing the bundles.
That's pretty crazy. I can understand the frustration of artists and publishers. If the value of music drops so significantly because of this, it's obviously bad for everyone involved. But what's the solution? Should everything really only be offered for a fee? I mean, music is also a cultural asset that should be accessible to as many people as possible.
That's the big question. Apple clearly says, yes, music must be paid for. Spotify and Amazon Music see it differently and argue that broad availability through free offerings ultimately brings more people to music. It's a balancing act between accessibility and fair compensation. This debate will certainly accompany us for a while, especially with the rise of AI music, which also cuts into artists' earnings. Global outage: how Google took itself down. Let's move on to our second topic, which affected us all last week: the massive Google outage. Gmail, YouTube, Google Maps, nothing worked. And now it turns out the reason was a bug in their own code. Bianca, you're online a lot. Did you notice the outage?
Oh, yes. I was at my computer trying to check an email and nothing was loading. I first thought my internet was acting up, but then I realized it was a bigger problem. You become so incredibly dependent on Google services, don't you?
Absolutely. And it's crazy that the cause was so simple: an error in the system called service control. A new feature was rolled out there on May 29th, but it only became active on June 12th when a necessary policy change was implemented. And then, bam, a null pointer error due to unexpectedly empty fields in a policy. This caused core service control processes to crash and get stuck in an endless restart loop globally.
A null pointer error? That sounds like a classic in software development, but for Google on this scale, that's a bit scary. You rely on such huge systems being rock solid.
That's it. Google itself openly admitted that the error originated in-house. Although they reacted quickly, starting the analysis within 2 minutes and identifying the cause after 10 minutes, it still took almost 3 hours in some regions for the systems to stabilize. This simply shows how complex these infrastructures are and how quickly a small error can trigger a huge chain reaction.
But I think it's good that Google is so transparent about it. They not only announced the usual error analysis, but also promised proactive measures to prevent such problems and better external communication. That's an important step because such outages will probably continue to accompany us in the future. Nobody's perfect, not even Google.
Exactly. And it's an important lesson for all companies relying on such complex systems. You always have to expect that something can go wrong and have appropriate contingency plans and communication strategies. I'm curious to see if we'll experience fewer such outages in the future. And with that, we've reached the end of today's episode of Hartwig's Tech World. We hope you enjoyed chatting with us about the latest tech news.
Yes, it was super interesting again. Thanks so much for listening.
Absolutely. And stay tuned for the next episode. We already have some really interesting topics on the list. So tune in again when it's Hartwig's Tech World. Until then, take care and stay tech savvy.